Hello and welcome back to the AAT podcast, episode number 29, with myself, Adi of Adibiotics.
And Fraser Lucas.
Good afternoon, Fraser.
Good afternoon, Adi. How are you doing?
Not bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, thank you.
Yeah, you sound better. Okay, so I hope everybody's doing well and everything. How are you finding this? I know we mentioned before, like, you sometimes thinking I'm going to introduce you. I thought I'd do it on your debut episode, but after that,
Yeah, just to hand the reins over to me.
that's why I went, here, introduce yourself. And it's like, no, because it's like, to tell you the truth, when me and Aidan started doing this podcast, we got inspiration from our favourite podcasters, Jocko Willink. Big shout out to him and Echo Charles. And Jocko would always come in and introduce Echo first and then introduce himself right after, which I thought was really quite a sweet thing to do. He was like not letting him feel left out, like I'm in charge here and everything. But no, like they knew it was a team effort because he's from the teams back in the days, as he would always say. And that's when Aidan and I trained jiu-jitsu. But Aidan sends his wishes to everybody as well. So that's what I thought from now on. Aidan actually introduced himself right away, and I just thought, you know what, let him do it. The floor is his as much as it is mine. So the same thing with yourself. The floor is yours as much as it is ours because you're part of the team now.
Appreciate it, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're most welcome. I think this is like a Christmas present for everybody in the new year. He's just become a presenter. Golf clap, golf clap.
Did too much, thank you.
Okay, I'll stop. Alright, no worries. So in today's podcast, we're continuing with the saga of Lethal Weapon, with Lethal Weapon 3, which was actually done in 1992. The last two Lethal Weapon movies were done in the 90s, whereas the first two were done in the 80s. So in this movie, in this part, you have Murtaugh, again played by Danny Glover, who's going towards retirement and he hates it. Throughout the movie, all you hear is, I have 6 days until retirement, I have 5 days until retirement, I have 4 days until retirement, I'm not going to make a stupid mistake. He ends up making a stupid mistake. And Riggs is like feeling quite depressed, the fact that he's going to lose the only thing that he has to family left, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah, he basically loses, because at this point they are basically like sort of surrogate brothers at this point. With, I think you mentioned Roger being sort of like a surrogate older brother to Riggs. And he's sort of completely, at this point, he's completely ingrained into the family dynamic. He does his own laundry at Murtaugh's house. I mean, that
laundry service.
That basically tells you everything you really need to know at what point they are in the sort of relationship now. Yeah.
Actually, if you remember in part 2, she's doing his laundry, isn't she? Trish.
Yes.
Murtaugh's wife, when he's like, hey Raj, where does Trish keep my clean clothes? Oh, on the shelf on the back of the machine. And he's like, there's a shirt I can put on and everything. And what was really funny was the fact that they might sell the house. Leo Getz comes back, played by the great Joe Pesci,
with some questionably blonde dyed hair.
Question is, Joe, Mr. Pesci, I know you're going to swear your backside off at me if I ever say this. You'll probably be like, if I had to swear like Joe Pesci, all you'll hear throughout this podcast will be bleep, 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 bleep. Go silent. Bleep, bleep, bleep. You said bleep, bleep, bleep. You said bleep, bleep, bleep.
Like watching a Gordon Ramsay show.
Yeah, non-stop bleeping.
But yeah, I think it's. I'm not sure it was of its time, but I don't know. In a weird way, it kind of helps establish the whole image of Leo as a character. This kind of sleazy.
He is a bit more sleazy in this because now he's selling real estate.
Yeah.
Whereas one of the funny scenes in that movie was where he's walking into the house and he's like, okay, isn't this house great and everything? Oh yeah, we had to redecorate this room. Why? What happened? A drug dealer smashed his car through and shot up all the house, and started laughing. No, really, what happened? That's what happened. A drug dealer drove his car through and shot up the whole place and everything. Okay. And then all you hear is, upstairs the bathroom has been remodeled due to the unexpected bomb damage. And they're scared already, like, it's supposed to be a nice area. Yeah, but that's what happened upstairs. Okay. Well, we'll have a look at the kitchen and everything right now. And then Riggs and Murtaugh are in there wrestling with one another, sort of. And then he's like, then they go off, and Murtaugh's always, throughout the whole movie, I think you need to get one of those electronic counters to count how many times in this one movie Murtaugh says SOB.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because I think at one point he calls Riggs, so an SOB, I think like 3 times within the span of what feels like 10 seconds.
He's like, SOB, you crazy mother! And then he's like, Riggs, you crazy SOB! And Riggs like, yeah! Riggs has still got that craziness about him as well.
Yeah.
Well, but what was interesting when you bring in a new character who becomes a really great addition, which is Lorna Cole, played by the beautiful Renee Russo.
Yeah.
And still a good-looking woman even till today. And last time I saw her in a movie was in Thor, where she plays Frigga, Thor's mother.
She'd appeared in Avengers Endgame as well, a sort of brief.
Yes, she does, when she tells him to eat a salad here and there.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You crying?" "No." "Yes." And everything. And he's like putting his hand out. "Wait, I forgot one thing. What's that?" "Mjolnir." "Yes, I'm still worthy." And it's like, apparently that was a fat suit they put on Chris Hemsworth, because I don't think they could afford to have
No, I mean, they tried to make it real, but the thing is, there's no way that they would have had. It would take too much time anyway to go from the kind of body that Chris Hemsworth usually has now, which is completely jacked, to go to be really, let yourself go. You've got a gut, It's just
exactly. And then what was quite funny was the fact that when you see her in there, she is definitely like Riggs' female counterpart. She dresses kind of like similar to him, has the same gun as him.
Interested in the Three Stooges, done it for a computer as well, Riggs as well.
Likes dogs like Riggs.
Yeah.
But actually lives in a house, not in a trailer like him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think because his trailer got shot up in part 2.
It did actually, yes, in one of the action scenes. And it is interesting because in the beginning of the film, because the original draft and script for Lethal Weapon 3 was quite a different animal. It was a lot darker and more violent. It was also going to have Lorna actually be a male character instead.
No way.
It was actually more of a similar, kind of like a foil for Riggs, who is also similar, kind of crazy, sort of on-the-edge type cop character. To be honest, it probably wasn't for the best, because trying to get someone to do that would also be trying to get someone who has that Mel Gibsonian type of wild acting quality.
I like that, Mel Gibsonian.
Yeah.
There's Gibsonian energy. I like that.
Exactly. And get that Gibsonian energy.
Even the crew behind the camera right now is laughing at that. So hats off to Fraser, everybody.
I mean, it's. But the thing is, you can't imitate it. You can't. So I think it's for the best they changed. I think Richard Donner was responsible for quite a lot of things.
He was a smart man.
Behind the scenes as well, as a script doctor, was like a bunch of on-the-fly stuff. Carrie Fisher was actually a script doctor. Yeah, she was actually a script doctor.
As in Princess Leia.
Yes, because I think throughout particularly the 90s, she became in the industry within it.
Yeah.
If you were in the know, you'd know. Oh yeah, Carrie Fisher. She does a lot of script doctoring. She even script doctored Steven Spielberg's film Hook. That Peter Pan film as well. That was just to name another one. But she did do a lot of script doctoring, particularly in the 90s, I believe. But yeah, Lethal Weapon was one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a little detail, yeah.
He's getting my reactions out.
I'm turning the tables here.
Next time you have to turn Aiden and his hair into the tables on that. I know I mentioned the hair a lot, but I'll tell you one thing, Aiden is famous for that hair. I mean, if I can remind everybody the story how I first met Aiden. When I met him once, he was a lovely guy, and he still is, bless him. And we met each other. I met him, and this is how I met him. Oh, there you are, right there. So, but you know what? It was great because we developed a great brotherhood, all of us together. Yourself included with Tal and Will. Shout out to Will, Mantis, Zia, and Henrique. Jacob, all our crew of the Wanderers and everything. We're going to keep on rocking on in the new year as well. And hopefully Aiden will probably be coming back on the show as well, and he'll be rocking on as well, like with his he'll probably be hitting his laptop with like a piano. He'll probably be doing that. I could just imagine him shaking his hair and everything like that as he's like playing the piano, his laptop like a piano. And
the equivalent of the sort of piano equivalent of shredding the guitar.
Yes. And then after he stops banging his head, the hair will keep moving until it stops. Bless him. But yeah, I mean, one good thing. So, story of Lethal Weapon 3 is Riggs and Murtaugh. Murtaugh's coming towards retirement. But in a way, he doesn't want to retire because he feels like, what am I going to do for the next 10 years and everything. And they're taking on a former cop turned crime lord.
Yes.
Yeah, played by Stuart Wilson with the name character named Jack Travis. I like the way when they figure out this guy was a cop, and they go the video, and it's like, oh, now it's the police and everything, looking at a surveillance tape.
Internal affairs.
Yeah, and then he's like Jack Travis. Who? Lieutenant Jack Edward Travis. Because what happened? He used to be a cop. They were on a stakeout, him and his partner. He went for coffee. He never came back. And Rid's like, looks like he's had one too many cappuccinos already, Raj. and then the funny thing is, Leo knows who this guy is. But he's like, hey, I know this guy. Who is this? He goes, what? You know this guy? Yeah, who is it? He's like, hey, hands off the jacket, okay, baby? And he's like, hey, don't touch the ear. Don't let it fool you. And everything. And then he's like, yeah, he wanted some hockey ticket. Remember the same line. Can I get a gun this time? No!
Why does they go into the next scene? Yeah.
No! And it's the ice hockey arena that they were playing. And Riggs, when he does the thing, when he goes to the mic stand, and he's saying to him, I know you're in here, there's exits out, this is the LAPD, don't move. And Murtaugh's like, smart SOB. I think he must say it over the course of this movie at least 20 to 25 times.
Well, let's put it this way, Addy. I wouldn't suggest trying to make a drinking game out of every time he says it, because I can guarantee you just die of alcoholic poisoning.
I think you would, yeah. And that's just from part 3. Imagine if you add them all up together, you could kill a whole herd with all that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a good time with this. Because I've only ever seen the second film. I've yet to see the first one, which I will get around to.
Oh, you need to.
Yeah, I will do. It's on the list. I have a list of films I need to get to watching.
It's a Christmas movie, so you can watch it at Christmas.
Yeah, because I forget it is based around Christmas.
Yeah,
like Die Hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I can remember when me and Aidan reviewed part 1. Then he left us. It was sabbatical. I'm only joking. But no, I had to respect his decision. But you know, whatever he's doing, wish him all the best. And everything. I'm sure everybody else does out there. And the hair. Wish the hair all the best.
Of course.
Well. Yeah. The hair's unmissable. Oh, yeah. There it is. Yeah. Well, when he reviewed part 1, and we were talking about how, ironically, Bruce Willis was up for the role of Riggs, whereas Mel Gibson was one of the actors up for the role of John McClane in Die Hard. Now, I think in a way, don't get me wrong, they're both brilliant actors.
They are brilliant in their own right.
Gibson's a brilliant director as well. I mean, the first movie I ever saw him direct was The Man Without a Face. That was the actual first ever movie he directed.
Oh, right.
And I thought it was just a very powerful movie. Like, don't judge somebody because on their appearance.
Yeah.
But that is one Mel Gibson movie you got to watch. Well, yeah. I think the 3 of us have got to watch it and then review it together.
Yeah.
I'm going to hopefully get Aidan back in for a cameo down the line.
Yeah, why not?
Just him. If the hair wants to join you.
Yeah, why? Yeah, I mean, but yeah,
with a package deal in it, him and the hair.
Yeah, I mean, you're all right though, because with Mel Gibson and Bruce Willis, they are great actors in their own right. But if you swap them round in their places, you'd have 2 very different films.
Yes.
Very different energies. The whole dynamic changes entirely.
Indeed. Because I couldn't imagine Willis being a crazy Riggs. He's not.
Well, he's never played that type of character.
No, he hasn't.
Not to insult his range, because he has played so many different sorts of characters very effectively.
Indeed.
But that type of character, I think, doesn't help the fact because Mel Gibson, he stamped his particular type of energy onto it.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's he made it his own. He grabbed the character and he made it his own. Whereas with Willis, if he did the same and stamped his own sort of energy onto it, very different sort of thing altogether. I imagine probably a lot more reserved, less crazy, sort of more sort of
sarcastic,
kind of sort of a darkness behind the eyes. Probably gone to that slightly more brooding, more sarcastic sense.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of wilder, adrenaline junkie version that we see with Mel Gibson.
Yeah. I mean, did you know there was a deleted scene in Lethal Weapon 3 where, after Leo saying that, about the nail gun incident, and he's like saying to him, if you do this, a good thing you didn't tell me about the nail gun incident. He goes, what? Wait, I forgot. Did you have a permit when you built that thing into the garage? Well, a permit? I'll tell you what, don't worry, I'm here. Okay. And I'll run to the. I'll call up and make some calls, get some back gloves, get you some permits. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a tip. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he runs off. It's like the same thing like counting Leo. How many times he says the catchphrase? Okay. And that was funny as well. I mean, because he became kind of famous for doing that. Okay. And and then he's like, there's a deleted scene after that where Murtaugh goes to his he goes to like this little door in his house, and he opens it up, and then he presses this code, and it brings his spare gun out. You know, because he has two guns this time. First he has the revolver, and then he has the one similar to Riggs's. And his wife stops and goes, "You're forgetting something." He goes, "Oh, what? I forgot to give you a kiss." He goes, "No, this bulletproof vest. 5 more days. You eat it, you sleep in it, you bathe in it. Just keep wearing it on until you hit retirement." And she's like, "Riggs, you make sure nothing happens to him." "Yeah, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am." Everything like that. And so it was quite good. I mean, the other good scene that follows up afterwards was the scene where Riggs is trying to have a cigarette, and he thinks Rianne, Murtaugh's daughter, the one who fancied him in part 1, and you'll see that as well. And he thinks she's being held hostage, and then he's jumping. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing with a rubber gun?" He goes, "No, this is a movie we're filming and everything." He goes, "I thought you were in danger." He's like, "You really thought I was in danger?" "Yeah, I did." "Really?" "Yeah, I thought you were in danger." She still fancies him after all this time. And then she gets fired, and then when Riggs is like slapping the director, she's still fired. No, she's not. She's like, "Come back." "She's gonna get a raise?" Yeah, she'll come back. He goes, "Right, we like you to come back." And then they all start applauding for her and everything. Riggs like, "Didn't she get rehired? Didn't she get a pay raise? I don't hear a thank you." And he's like, "You're letting this retirement." You can tell in the way when them two are talking when they're driving. Retirement's getting to Murtaugh. He's like, "What am I going to do now after I've done with all this?"
Well, it's also about, because there's a lot of times, even in real life, when people come to retirement, they think that's something that they want, think it sounds great for a goal, because they think, "Oh, I've done all that hard work," and Murtaugh probably is in that mindset, thinking so, but then you reach that problem where you're retired, now what?
Yeah, exactly. What do you do now? And I've known so many people who've retired over the course, and it's like, what do I do now? It's like, whatever you want to do, but what is it that you want to do? I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I recently spoke to somebody when he was doing the TV series for 5 years.
Yeah.
And he goes, when they wrapped up the show, and he was like, I think they wrapped up on the Sunday, which was the last day of filming. And he goes, come Monday, he's like, I don't have to go to set. Where are all the friends that I've been with for the past 5 years? So what do I do now?
Yeah, exactly. You're left at this crossroads,
yeah,
and you don't really know what to do. And as they start approaching more and more towards the big retirement day, you see Murtaugh starting to sort of question it, start to wonder, is this exactly what I've been wanting?
Yeah.
Is this really, am I really too old for this? Exactly. And you can even see it as well with Riggs himself. He's not really happy about it. Seeing the one thing that sort of helped to get his mind out of the gutter, helped sort of get in touch with the sort of more family side of him, with sort of introducing to his family, to Murtaugh's family.
Yeah.
So again, he's not happy much about it either, and he's not very good at hiding it either.
He's not. I mean, it's like Riggs is like, he'll just tell it to your face.
Yeah.
Riggs is that type of guy who will just tell it to your face, whereas the fact that Murtaugh probably doesn't want to tell him that because he doesn't want to hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
If you look at it, and what was quite interesting was, I mean, I think that was some of the best acting of Mel Gibson in this movie. Not when he's crazy and firing the gun and everything like that. I mean, that, I don't know. That's, I'll call it. It's kind of like a trademark.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson when he's in movies like that. But if you look at him in this, when he's like the scene where them two are having a discussion about what Murtaugh accidentally did to that kid, and it turned out it was one of his son's mates.
Yeah. Just a teenager, yeah.
Yeah, and when he's like hitting him, he's like, "No, breathe." He goes, "No, Riggs, call an ambulance." And he's dead. He goes, "You don't understand, I know that kid." He goes, "Who is he?" He goes, "He's Nick's friend, my son's friend." And he's like, "Oh, alright." And then when Riggs there was a deleted scene, I don't know if anybody knows this, so I know I'm going to get the reaction out of this guy here.
Yeah.
And I used to get Aiden's reactions out of everything, Riley reactions, what we called it. So we got to call you the Lucas Lux, in other words. Look on Lucas's face. And what was quite interesting was the scene. I think they should have kind of left the scene in there where you seen part 2 where you have that workman called Eddie, I think his name is, and the guy who was firing the nail gun.
Yeah.
There's a deleted scene in where Riggs is having his trailer home extended.
Yeah.
Where he's like having like he's like making the house a lot bigger and everything.
Yeah.
And now he's adopted another dog, and you see the end result in part 4, and what happened was there's a scene where Rianne turns up and she's quiet. She wants to talk to Riggs, and he goes, "What's the problem?" He goes, "Dad didn't come home last night. He always comes home." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, and then it cuts to that scene where Riggs is going to find Murtaugh on his boat, and he's drunk and everything. He's like, "I did this," and then it was the scene where he's like, when Murtaugh punches him and everything, "You think I'm afraid even all that kung fu stuff you do and everything?" And then you see that the frustration of both of them are coming out together, and he's like, "I killed that kid, I killed a poor." He goes, "Oh yeah, you kill a lot of people, but you don't kill anybody like a kid like Nick." He's like, "Oh, you're so selfish, you're only thinking about yourself, and you know, what about me? What am I going to do when you're gone as well? You know, I have 3 beautiful kids and they're yours." And he's kind of like adopted the kids as if they were his own kids in a way.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You know, I live in your house, your wife helps me with my laundry, I love your kids, I love your family, what am I supposed to do when you're gone?"
Yeah.
He goes, "We're partners for life, you and me." And then that kind of sinks into him, and then when he goes, "I think I accidentally slept with someone I shouldn't have," and he goes, "You slept with Rihanna?" He goes, "No, I didn't." "Who did you sleep with?" "Lorna." "Who?" "Lorna, the guy." He goes, "The guy from Traffic?" "No, not the guy from Traffic. Lorna Cole, the Internal Affairs Officer, you idiot." He's like saying that to him and everything. And he's like,
you're right though, it is a great scene, and it's, you know, it sort of helps reaffirm their sort of relationship together and get sort of I think at this point the two they understand just how close they've gotten to each other at this point.
Indeed, yeah.
And they sort of realise, oh wow, you know, they are basically just brothers in arms at this point.
Indeed, yeah, they are. I mean,
Yeah.
it was an interesting. I mean, the other scene was, you know, when they're becoming like, when they go back on after the first scene, the very first scene when the building collapses, and he's like, there was some good comedy aspects in there when he's like, right, look at this stuff, it's so hot. There's a bomb in the back of the car, and he's like, "Maybe I could hot with this." "What? Don't even say the word hot wire around this thing." Goes, "Raj, relax. Hey, do you remember that bomb on your toilet?" Goes, "How can I forget?" "Well, you remember red wire, blue wire?" "Yeah." "Well, this is a lot more powerful than that was on your toilet." And then he's like, it's just you, me, and this, and that cat jumps on top, and he's like, "Oh great, you, me, and this cat, that's all I hear. Let's just have a look at it, okay?" He goes, "All right, I'll cut the red wire." "No, you said the blue wire." "Well, I meant the red one." "All right, just cut it." He cuts it, like, "Raj, yeah, grab that cat." Run out. "Yeah, get out of the way."
Yeah, that was an actual building they blew up actually.
Yeah.
Because it was the Orlando City Hall, but it was meant to be demolished, so they decided let's make use of that.
Yeah.
And one of the cops that looks at the destruction and says "Bravo" to them. That's actually then at the time Orlando's mayor.
That was epic. That was a good one.
I mean,
yeah, and then it was good to bring that sense of realism. And then he's like, "Oops." "Yeah, right, oops." And he goes, "We'll fight 6 more days till retirement, and I'm back on patrolman." He goes, "Well, my feet are killing me with the hit. And he goes, "How are my feet hurting?" He goes, "I'm sitting there, you bitch about it." And he's like hitting him, and he's like, the stomach. "What's this?" "It's a girdle." "It's a what?" "It's a girdle." Trish know about this?" "No, it's not a woman's girdle, it's a man's girdle." "They make girdles for men?" "It's to keep my stomach in, I haven't worn this in 30 years. He's like, "Well, just make sure none of the guys at the station hear about it, Raj." And then they play that prank on that guy crossing the road, and he's like, that was a really good, funny scene. It's like that showed a good piece of laughter that them two have together. And he's like, "Let me shoot him, Raj. We'll make it look like suicide." He goes, "Run, we'll get out of your car."
I'm just going to shoot the guy.
"Yeah, no, I'm just going to shoot him." He goes, "No, run that way, run." And they're like, laughing at him.
This is why it's kind of, in weird ways, Lethal Weapon, it's kind of almost as a certain sort of cartoonish charm about it, which they cause this destruction and mayhem. They literally get a building blown up, but it doesn't need to be in the beginning. No. But they treat it like, oh god, those guys again. There's the mayhem and bedlam guys that just cause guys. Basically, it's even though usually probably get fired in real life and might face jail time.
Probably did, you never know.
But in this case, they just sort of trained those guys again, just like a nuisance.
It is. That's just what the lesson what them two are just doing for other. They are being quite a nuisance in various things, but. Murtaugh has no choice sometimes, but together goes, "Right, you stay out here, I'll go inside." Because that's my first mistake. Riggs, where I'm coming with you and everything, but he's like kind of regretting it afterwards. "I didn't go in the building, but he's your partner. Even if he never went in there, he'd still be busted back on patrolman, wouldn't he? Would you reckon?"
Yeah, probably.
I think he would have.
But to be honest, Probably, I'm going to say that. Yeah, I mean, but it is good. I mean, the although it's known for its action set piece, Lethal Weapon, its sense of humour being quite quick-witted as well.
Indeed, yeah.
And that's what I do quite appreciate about it. And it's quite snappy the way the film is made, which I do like as well about it. It makes it quite unique.
It's one of the best sagas ever created. So
oh yeah, I mean, and also it was consistently created by Richard Donner, one of the great filmmaker journeymen in history.
Yeah. I mean,
rest his soul, but because he's made one. That's just it. Made four Lethal Weapon films. He did The Goonies, Superman as well. He's done.
He actually directed a movie with. He actually did not just Lethal Weapon with Gibson. He actually did. I think he did another movie called Conspiracy Theory.
That was the one. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, with him and Jude. To tell you the truth, I've never actually seen that movie, but it's fantastic.
My dad's seen it. Apparently, it's a wild ride, but it's really good.
Okay.
It's Gibson kind of leading once again into a very crazy paranoid role. Because of that, it's perfect for him.
It probably is. Yeah,
it's just.
I recommend another one for you to watch for Gibson. It's called Bloodfather.
Okay.
Awesome movie, Bloodfather.
I can't remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do another film as well. I'm not sure if you've seen it. One called Gallipoli. That was one of his earliest films he did.
No, I haven't actually seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's from the early 80s. I can't remember the name of the director, or is it Keir something? But anyway, he directed it. But anyway, the film about Gallipoli is based during World War One, and Mel Gibson's one of these Australian soldiers that is sent to go fight around Gallipoli against the Ottoman Empire during World War One, because people forget used to think of trench warfare in World War One around mainland Europe, around France, for example, whereas over there towards the south, like around Turkey or Northern Africa, they were sort of dug out in these really hot, almost near sort of desert climates, and they had a lot of Australian soldiers put there. And Gibson, he's not the main character. I think the campion's more like a sort of sharing the screen type of thing. It's from another character. I can't remember the name of the actor, but the other one's a sprinter who had sort of enlisted into the army for Australia. And it's about them. It's just one big war film about sort of growing through this trench warfare. And it's really good. I remember watching it with my mum, and it is fantastic. It's got although it does have quite a heartbreaking ending. It's quite an agonising one. But yeah.
Don't tell me what happens in it.
Yeah. I won't say. I'll just say the ending. It's brutal. It's brutal.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, another movie I saw Gibson's I thought was I don't know. Some people liked it. I don't know. It was Tequila Sunrise. I mean, the thing I liked about it was the team up with him and Kurt Russell.
Oh.
I thought they were a very good team.
Well,
Mel Gibson and Kurt Russell.
You've got Mel Gibson, who's known for his wild charm, and then you've got the magnetic charisma of Kurt Russell. I mean, come on, what a team up!
Oh, it definitely was.
Yeah,
it definitely was. I mean, one plays a bad guy, but one's a cop, one's a drug dealer, Gibson, where Russell's a cop, but they're best mates, which is quite good. But he doesn't want to bring him down because they've been best mates since high school days.
Yeah,
that's why.
Right.
And going back to Lethal Weapon, was the fact that one interesting thing was the fact that how this bad guy was extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
I thought he was because he knew the police procedures, he knew how to get into buildings without the police knowing it was a cop. It's like the scene where he goes in and kills one of his own men.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's good as well that he's not as slick as he sometimes thinks he is. For example, he slips up, like he gets caught up on a security camera when he basically blows away one of his own men in the interrogation room. He gets caught out the ice hockey thing, and he's kind of on the run. He's literally having to be put on the run here with this bluff from Riggs saying about being surrounded by the police. But at the same time, you see him sort of using his smarts of being a former cop. So I like that balance. It knows how to, rather than seeing kind of overpowered sort of evil. We know he's always. Every single time he's 2 steps ahead. There is a moment where, I'm a little bit on the ropes here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that scene where he takes Captain Murphy hostage.
Yes.
And the scene in that where he's like, just 2 fingers and hand me the gun. Yeah. He's, all right, fine, I'll hand you the gun. And where he knows how to get in there. He knows what ammunitions to take. He knows what weapons he's going to take, because he's going to sell them back out on the street and make more money. But that's why the housing project he uses in that's out there in the desert, he's basically using that as a front.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. He's using it as a front to say, I'm a legitimate businessman, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, that, and the other. But realistically, he's the one who's causing all the crime waves.
Yeah, exactly. And he's sort of taking these confiscated weapons that would normally be destroyed and then getting them back out into the world, selling them for a profit. And also, actually, the interesting thing is that the proper development place, that's an actual place they filmed out in the desert. And they set it to blaze in the big finale, which they found quite good because they were filming at night and the desert gets so cold that it warmed them up quite nicely. I appreciate that. But with Travis though, it proves to be quite a brutal one. I mean, he kills one of his own men by basically drowning him in cement.
Yeah, and then he goes, we'll put our initials in there.
Yeah, just probably one of those brutal kills I've seen.
Oh, indeed, yeah, burying a man alive in cement.
Yeah, that's. Oof. I mean, I know Lethal Weapon's hardcore, but wow.
That was a bit hardcore, yeah.
Yeah,
it was a bit, yeah.
But yeah, honestly, he's definitely once again another challenging villain to face.
I think the most challenging villain Riggs and Murtaugh have ever come across, without a shadow of a doubt, was in part 4.
With Jet Li,
Jet Li. I mean, it's like, because they can't accept the fact that they're not in their primes anymore. Whereas this guy, he's just like, flies through them.
And he's a martial artist.
And he flies through them like they're nothing.
Yeah.
Like Riggs is a tough dude. I mean, look at that fist fight. Well, if you watch part 1 of Lethal Weapon,
I've seen the fight scene with him and
Gary Busey.
Yeah, exactly.
They trained for months. I mean, the Gracie family trained them in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Let's play some of the moves there.
Yeah, the moves and that. When you watch it years later, if you studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the triangle lock he does to when he's like getting Joshua in that chokehold with the triangle lock, that's a jiu-jitsu move. And then when you see the takedown happening, I think that was maybe a cross between judo or jiu-jitsu, but the grappling that they were doing on the ground, like the arm bars and everything, that's all jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I thought some of the moves they worked on was something like judo or jiu-jitsu or something.
Yeah, Riggs is trained in quite a few martial arts. So I could notice that he's trained in boxing, he's trained in Shotokan karate, capoeira. I think he's done a bit of Muay Thai.
Well, he even teaches Murtaugh how to do the spin kick.
Yeah.
How to do a roundhouse kick,
And then Murtaugh gets her an admirer, that driver. She's really sweet, she is. The Dolores.
Yes.
And she's like driving us, hey, keep singing, keep singing. He's liking her singing, and he goes, I'm too old for this. He goes, you're not for me, are you? He goes, well, she's a dynamite driver. He goes, I'll show you dynamite. She just kisses him. He goes, Raj, what are you doing? He goes, what? You kissed her? I didn't kiss her, she kissed me. He goes, wipe off the lipstick. You know what the guys at the station think about this? And then he goes, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say ain't going to be much. And then he's like, wait, are you awake? Are you awake? Bang! Back to bed.
You had the right to remain unconscious. But I think some of the one-liners from Brie. I mean, he usually does, but some of the one-liners, they're absolute nuggets of gold.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's like the scene where they're interrogating that guy from underneath the car
with the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you saw that scene with the Tyrone dude. You saw the deleted scene?
Yes,
in that one?
I do. Because I watched the extended version they released.
Which was better.
There was director's cut. I think it only adds a few scenes, but it does make it a better experience.
Yeah, but when you do watch part 1 of Lethal Weapon, be sure to watch the director's cut.
I'll make sure of that. I usually do anyway with films. Whenever they have a director's cut, I think, I'll go with that one there.
Yeah. I mean, to tell you the truth, whenever a director's cut movie comes out, I just automatically tune into watching that one.
Exactly, because it's more towards what they kind of wanted out of the film
Indeed,
anyway.
yeah. It's like an unrated movie. Like, say, for example, what was it? The extended version of Rambo 5.
Yeah.
When you see that, it was like those scenes in there. It was like, why wasn't that scene on the cinema? Why wasn't that scene on the cinema? Why was this one?
Yeah.
Like, this is more interesting. No.
Exactly. Another a real obvious example, Lord of the Rings. I can't even go back to watching the theatrical versions compared to the extended ones because they just add so much better context and detail. And that's, I think most people ever seen either version, they'll say, yeah, that's basically the gist of it.
It is just the gist of it and everything. But what was quite interesting about Lethal Weapon was the fact that you get to know a little bit more about the characters you like. There's more action scenes. There's more better storylines. There's a good storyline in part 1 with Riggs that shows how heroic he is.
Yeah.
But he's like, there's a good scene I still remember reading this on the back of the DVD box set because I ended up buying the whole box set when it first came out on DVD. This is like 20 years back. Yeah, I'm getting to show my age. And
you're young at heart, man. Young at heart. Just always remember that term.
Yeah. I've never felt my age. It's just
no. Yeah, it's just how many times you go around the sun.
You know, like Rocky says, do you think you should stop so many times because you've had one too many birthdays? I don't think that, and everything. And there's a good scene here. So what it says on the back of the DVD box there, it says there's more scenes added here where Murtaugh is showing how much of his accuracy he is at the shooting range on his birthday, whereas Riggs doesn't care if he doesn't see another birthday. But what he does in this movie is quite extremely heroic. What he does, the amount of people he saves in this scene is really great.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say to you.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, because there is that sort of wild. Because although for all of his sort of his violence is sort of manic sort of moments for Riggs, he always maintains that likability about him.
Oh, I did.
He's always endearing. He's always that guy you can still sort of root for.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hate Riggs.
No, and I always love how he still has that particular. Whenever he goes into what I call Gibson's beast mode,
yes,
where he has that particular type of rage. Where he's just like a force of nature. Yeah,
it's like this. He demonstrates that the most in part one, and especially with the fight scene at the end.
Yes.
Where he goes to, and this is even Aiden's favorite bit as well. And it's my favorite bit. It's like when he says to him, "What do you say, Jack? You want a shot? Would you like a shot at the title?"
I want a shot at the title. Yeah.
Don't mind if I do. And that's a good comeback line as well. Don't mind if I do. I mean, Joshua puts up a heck of a good fight with Riggs.
Yeah.
Because I read up the reason why they casted Gary Busey was the fact. I mean, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
He's an amazing, great actor. I mean, he played Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story. Another movie he was famous for was Point Break, the original, playing Keanu Reeves' partner in that movie.
Oh, right.
Pappas. Oh, he's hilarious in that movie, and he's got some good lines in that as well. You know, I tell you straight. And. Well, yeah, he's done that. He's done, I'm sure he did another great movie as well.
I think he has.
Under Siege with Steven Seagal.
He's
done that as well. Yeah, he's a bit of a jerk in that movie, but the character he plays. But I tell you one thing, he's extremely hilarious in that movie. He has some good one-liners in that as well, and because you team him up with Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
So I mean, they're both amazing actors. Especially, who doesn't love Tommy Lee Jones?
I mean, yeah, but you only have to either watch him because there's two films I'd always suggest if you want to get the full magnitude of why Tommy Jones is so good: The Fugitive or the original Men in Black. Pick either one, and you'll understand exactly what anyone means. Because you don't know Tommy Lee Jones as an actor, watch either of those films. You'll know exactly what we mean.
To say the truth, I preferred him more in The Fugitive as Sam Gerard.
We
got to review that movie.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, I put that in because I think once upon a time put up a list of 100 favourite films. The Fugitive was one of the first ones I thought of.
Wow.
Because it's absolutely brilliant. I remember even watching it because I've watched it so many times, and it's got even the classic train scene as well. The smash, but I'll save that commentary for next time.
Save it for that one, everyone. And all right, so so when you're watching this movie with Gary Busey, when you see him in Lethal Weapon 3, where he puts up a heck of a fight with Riggs.
He does.
It's like the scene where he's like kicking him. He's like, "Come on, Riggs, come on!" And then he just kicks him through there. That was like my favorite scene. I was like, and then all the police officers are around. You have the helicopter shining the light down on the fight. It's like, here's the main event.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's taking place outside a cop's house on his lawn. And I like the line where he goes, "Get that shit off my lawn." And that was actually the first movie him and Danny Glover worked on.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Predator 2, but in that they're both working together.
That's the one I remember from 1990, I think that was.
92.
92. Yeah, I read about that time, but yeah.
So, I mean, he's an amazing actor. I mean, the funny thing is, his son, Jake Busey.
That's it, yeah, sorry.
He's actually in the last Predator movie called The Predator. And funny thing is, his character in that is the son of his father's character in part 2.
There we go, nice little nod.
Yeah, it's also, it's like you have the real life father and son playing the fictional father and son,
yes.
Which is just absolutely, it's a great continuation.
Yeah, I think also Jake was also one of the cast members of Starship Troopers as well.
Yes, he was.
He was in that one that I recognise as well. There's other ones. Actually, they popped in all sorts of films actually. But yeah, it's a nice little sort of nod towards the Predator 2 there. But yeah, with Lethal Weapon 3 in this case, there's no particular big sort of rough and tumble fight scene in this case. There's nothing. It's more or less a lot of shootouts really.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In this version. In this case, they even use what they call cop killer bullets. With
armor piercing bullets.
Yes, armor piercing bullets, or cop killers as they're given their nickname.
And the scene where like when he's got to wear a bulletproof vest, Conrad, he did it on purpose to expose him. They're like, you're wearing a girdle. He's got a girdle. And he goes, no, I threw my back out lifting weights this morning. And he goes, yeah, I saw him do that. And he's like, go out, and he shoots things. These things are out on the street, so double up on your vest. That means you, kid. And that kid who's shooting it and everything, he's like, you're a pretty good shot. I feel like he was looking up to Riggs and Murtaugh as inspirations, wasn't he?
Yes, I think, yeah, because at this point, if you're a young cop that sort of rises through the ranks, you look at them and think, well, wow, what an exciting life. You're just a couple of big heroes.
Yeah.
Just pull these crazy scenes of action, and yet they're daring do, and yet they come out of it.
Yeah, they always do. And like, what's another good funny scene in that one was after Riggs gets. When he gets before he gets beat up by those guys in the warehouse, and he sees the dog, and he's like saying to Lorna, "Put it down." Because why? I can't shoot it. I can't shoot dogs. People are okay, but not dogs. He's like, I can shoot but I can't shoot a dog. And he's like, and he's like. It's like, how did Mel Gibson pull that off? Was just absolutely hilarious.
Honestly, it's just.
I think there was any acting or and then the dog's like, what's wrong with this guy? Okay, me and him will just. Then they just instantly bonding. She's like, do you want me to leave here? It's kind of like male bonding here. You might want to go out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And but one thing I like about Lorna's character is well, before you feel like she's after them two in particular. Because Riggs kind of plays that kind of prank on her in the elevator when he's also in the lift when he goes. How much have you got stashed away? He goes, what do you mean? Like, well, all the money we took off all the people in all those drug dealers, they don't deserve this. So how much you got? Like, 5 million stashed away? Yeah. It's fine. It's Riggs Murtaugh's like, what are you talking about? He goes, like, looking over there like, she's Eternal Affairs, so let's just play a prank on her and everything. She's like looking back like, these guys might be dirty. Because then he bumps into her on purpose and everything, and then he's like, when you step into my orifice, and then he brings her into the men's room, and then he wants to help her. He ends up liking her as well. But what was even funny was the fact that she kind of like she likes him, but the thing is when he was like saying what happened to Murtaugh, he says I heard about what happened to him. I'm sorry, he killed that kid by accident.
Yeah,
Well,
it draws them closer. That sort of.
It does, yeah. That tragedy draws them. She kind of like takes him on. She kind of takes on Murtaugh like an older brother as well, because you'll see the bigger bond in part 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I save that for part 4.
Yeah, I suspect so. And actually, fun fact as well. That line she says about as close as a lingerie shop with no front window. That was ad-libbed by Rene Russo.
I'm not surprised.
And I think also that bit when Riggs says afterwards, I don't get it. What was it mean by a lingerie shop with no front window? I think that was also Gibson himself sort of not really quite getting.
Yeah, probably was. Yeah, there was no acting rule.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's that sense of I think what makes it always work with these films, not just particularly action, it's particularly the sense of wit.
Yes.
And the character interplay between each other that works so well, because in most action scenes you've seen these sorts all because of the 80s and the 90s they had tons of action scenes.
Oh yeah.
And as a result, a lot of these films they might kind of merge together the same sort of details or types of chases. But what made Lethal Weapon always stand out is that brilliant bit of wit between characters and the relationships they build with each other being so unique. And that's particularly what I admire the most about this. But the action, of course, is a nice thing to add on to it as well.
Yeah, it's true, definitely. I mean, then the other good scene was after you see her demonstrating her martial arts skills, and then Riggs has finally got out of there, and he's like, and then they're driving away in the truck full of stolen weapons.
Yeah. Because
they're going to send it back to the police force and everything. And one box drops on the ground. He goes, where is it? Oh, it's full of weapons. And then he drives it. No, stop what? We've got to wait for the dog. The dog? Yeah, wait for the dog kind of becomes their sidekick instantly because he bribed it with a dog biscuit. He's like, all right, they both became best friends. And then he brings the dog back to his trailer, and you see in the deleted scene the
director's cut as well.
Yeah, the director's cut. Yeah, you see them together, like the dog the new dog, Riggs' previous dog, Sam, and then you have Riggs, or just three of them bonding together,
watching the Three Stooges.
Watching the Three Stooges, and then because apparently Gibson in real life's a big fan of the Three Stooges, and
I think so.
You had to be anyway, and it was like, and then there's scenes where they're comparing the scars.
Yes.
That was funny, and then he's like, okay, he goes, what, this scratch? Well, it feels like Grand Canyon. It feels like a hole in my head. It's just a scratch. He goes, oh, you think that's bad? She goes, hey, look here, this is a knife wound. Okay, that's fine. Oh, you think that's bad? Okay, look here, this guy dragged me.
Oh, one of the scars.
Yeah,
they're actually from Lethal Weapon 2, a lot of the details.
And from Lethal Weapon 3, no, it's from Lethal Weapon 1 as well.
Yeah, particularly 2 as well, because that's where he gets a lot.
He gets. He
goes through the mill properly. He just gets properly beaten up in that film.
Yeah,
he's getting bashed about. He comes out on top at the end, but yeah, he goes through the ringer in that one.
Yeah, he gets shot in his back a few times, shot in his front a few times, and then he's like, and then he gets stabbed. No, he first gets stabbed in the leg, and then he's like attacking those guys in return as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he got a proper good.
I was hoping he gave it as good as he got. What he gave it near enough, not as good as he gave Joshua in part 1.
Yeah,
but he did give it near enough as good as he got in that movie.
Yeah.
And then what was also interesting was when you see him in this one, he's not holding back.
Yeah.
Because what was quite interesting when he runs that scene where Riggs, Murtaugh, and when they're chasing him, he's running on the motorcycle. He manages to get a motorcycle. He thinks he's going to chase them all the way on foot. He's like, Riggs, you ain't fast anymore, mate. Relax. And then he goes, hey, I'm Sergeant Martin Riggs. I need to confiscate your bike. What gun you got? All right, give me a couple of clips. And then he's like, he takes the police officer's motorcycle. He goes after them. And then what was even funny was when he slides down the bridge that's not even finished. And then he's like, oh, Riggs, just relax. And then he moves and he falls all the way down. What a horrible crash that was. And then he's like, the shoulder gets dislocated. He goes,
and then he bashes it back
in. Oh my god, you think that's bad? Wait till you see part 4, what Jet Li does to him.
Oh, I think I might know what you're talking about.
Apparently, I'll just give one little thing away. Jet Li dislocates both his shoulders.
Yeah.
And then he has no choice but to headbutt him, and then he pops both the shoulders back in place afterwards. It was funny in part 2, and does that hurt me? Yeah, it does, but not as much as when I pop it back in. Bang! It goes right back into the place, and everybody hears it in the station, which is quite funny. And the other bit where they go to find out where Travis is, and they confiscate the captain's car, and then he's like, all those guys shoot it up and everything, and he's like, Raj, could be worse, could be our car. Yeah, it could be worse, could be Tricia's car. like what they do in part 2 where they did that brand new car. They get it shot, it gets scratched from the side, there's no grill on it anymore. And there you go, they're driving a station wagon all over the place. Like, what kind of a car do you take for a police chase? A station wagon.
Or an estate car, as you say in the UK.
Yeah, an estate car. And then they burn all of Travis's they burn it all down, don't they?
Yeah.
And I like the improvisation of Riggs there, and Murtaugh a little bit, where he's like, when he's trying to find bullets for that gun, because he takes that gun back as I saved it for the special occasion, this occasion. And then he's like, gives those armor-piercing bullets, and that guy's coming towards him, he has the axe, he just stabs Frozen.
Yeah, just Frozen.
Good shot. It was a really good shot, he did. And then when Riggs is like ran out of bullets, and he picks up that bucket of gasoline, he just chucks it and he just burns that guy up and everything. And then he's like,
hardcore.
That was really hardcore. Then when he goes after Travis for the fight, and then he's shooting and he goes, he can't do anything about it. And he goes, Riggs, cop killers! He grabs it and he's shooting his ex-cop killers.
There we go.
I like that line. Then what Travis says to him before is quite. But he comes back with him even better, doesn't he? He's like, go to hell, Riggs. You first. Which is quite good.
Yeah, it is, honestly, because it is it's probably a decent finale, so and also fills in on the brilliant opening titles when it has all the fire.
Yeah.
Kind of neatly falls into that perfectly. The fire theme.
Indeed.
But it's a brilliant bit of finale. I think personally, I'd say I prefer the Lethal Weapon 2's big finale because it felt there was more emotional stakes involved, particularly for Riggs. but for this one again, it was still probably decent, good old shootout.
Oh yeah, definitely, indeed.
And it's nice and good that old-fashioned poetic justice with using the villain's own kind of weapon, with the stolen machine gun with the cop killing bullets, using it against him.
That was really good. That was because it's like we're giving you a taste of your own medicine.
Exactly, classic case of poetic justice.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that was always satisfying, that kind of irony. But yeah, it's probably a brilliant sort of ending to the film itself. And as well, it's surprisingly longer than I thought it was going to be, because it says it's around about 2 hours, I think, but it felt longer. And I'm more than happy that I'm always a person that prefers greater length than really short. Yeah. So I'm always happy with that, because I'm a person I'm happy to feel like I got a bit too much rather than too little.
Yes.
That's when it comes to films. If I had the choice of too much or too little, I'd always choose too much every single day of the week.
Oh, indeed, yeah.
Because being left too little, you just feel like getting a bit shortchanged.
Yeah, you feel like you don't want to miss anything.
Exactly. It's why the director's cut, I think it adds 10 minutes of extra.
It does, but still, those 10 minutes go
exactly,
a long
10 extra
way.
minutes, which I do really appreciate, considering the scenes it does add in, which I really do find quite helpful. I'm also going to say what I never see do like is that when they take the captain hostage, Captain Murphy, I think, I always think they'll probably just kill him off, another one of those sort of collateral bodies, but no, he lives. Not only that, he even manages to
fights back a bit.
Fights back and even electrocutes one of the henchmen as well with his hands behind his back.
That was quite badass.
Yeah, I like that, because usually those sorts of types of characters, usually they probably get shot or they get killed off quickly enough. Yeah. Or just quickly gets dropped by the villain. Like a hot potato, and there we go.
Yeah.
But no, instead he not only just lives, he fights back and even gets one of his goons in turn as well. So I do appreciate that, because it proves not just Riggs and Murtaugh the ones that can
do all the action.
Exactly.
Yeah. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Lethal Weapon 3?
I mean, I really do like Lethal Weapon 3. I mean, personally, I might say just a little bit more. I say I preferred watching 2, just a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking really small margins, mind you.
Yeah.
But I think for Lethal Weapon 3, personally, I'd say 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, that's pretty good. I think I'd give it about 8 out of 10 for that one.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's fair score.
And well, I think good thing about wait till you see Lethal Weapon 4. Not only was that Jet Li's Hollywood debut movie, was actually the first time he ever played a villain.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yes. Which is unusual, because unlike his other fellow statesman, Jackie Chan, I don't think he's ever played a villain.
They refused him to, because did you know Jackie Chan was originally up for that role in Lethal Weapon 4?
Oh, I think he was, wasn't he?
The Hong Kong executive said, we're not letting him become a bad guy.
I think Jackie Chan himself has not been too keen on playing.
Because he seems too nice. It's like you couldn't buy him as a bad guy.
He's played so many of these likable sort of goofball
lovable
heroes, lovable heroes. At this point, I think even everyone realizes that, for one thing, a lot of his fan base, ones in China and even elsewhere, they sort of it's kind of hard to sort of accept that or even take it seriously. And I think even for Jackie Chan himself, he thinks, I just don't think I'll be able to pull it off.
No, he wouldn't.
I mean, my curiosity does make me wish he at least did it once, at least did one film with film, but I just feel like if he did do it, yes, my curiosity would be satisfied, but I don't think it would be the greatest choice.
No.
Jet Li, that works fine, but some people, they work great as serious. Other times when they try them out as villains, or even vice versa, sometimes it just doesn't come together. So I think fair enough. I think in the end, really, they went with the right guy.
Oh, indeed. Did you know even Jackie Chan was up for playing Wesley Snipes' role in Demolition Man?
I think you may have heard about that as well.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't think that. No,
but honestly, it would have been a completely different film in that case.
I think it would have been awful.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, it would have been such a different film, because Wesley Snipes and Jackie Chan, we're talking massively different characters, different personalities. The character would have been just absolutely a completely different thing, and the whole film would have been likely completely different, and probably worse for it.
It'd probably be more of a comedy. But I like the fact that Snipes, he had a good level of comedy to him in that movie, and but he played the role very. As much of a fan of Stallone I am, I have to admit Snipes stole the movie in Demolition Man.
You can tell he's having a lot of fun
especially that museum scene, which we're going to save for Demolition Man.
Yes, because I got round to watching Demolition Man not long ago, like a few months ago.
Yeah.
And yes, it was as good as I expected it to be.
It was good. I mean, originally you won't believe this. It was actually going to be in that movie. Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Really?
But they were like, Van Damme was going to be Snipes' role.
Right, okay.
Seagal would have been Stallone's role. Because they wanted to get these two martial arts stars
on the height of their powers.
Well, they were at the height of their fame at that time. And then, but like Van Damme said, no, reverse the roles. Make Seagal the bad guy, make me the hero.
Oh, and Seagal, I'm guessing, was not too... Given how I don't think even he's played a villain ever.
No, yes.
Oh, has he? I think...
In one movie, Machete, with Robert Rodriguez, who directed,
yes,
Danny Trejo, who played...
Yes, I think so.
He plays a Mexican drug cartel. I mean, he puts on a pretty good Mexican accent, I've got to admit.
Okay, that's...
I mean, like, Seagal's not known much for his acting, as much as he is for his martial arts abilities and everything, but in some movies he's actually played a pretty good role. Like, one movie of his that I really liked, which is actually my favourite Seagal movie of all time, Hard to Kill.
I think I've heard of that. I think I do lose track of the Steven Seagal movie titles. They're different titles. They all kind of blend in together. If that makes any sense.
The three-word title, like Above the Law.
Yeah, Above the
Hard
Law.
to Kill. Out for
Siege.
Justice.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, they all kind of. I mean, as a result, it's kind of hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Because they all have that the titles are kind of the same sort of structure. If it makes any sense.
Yeah. Also, Out for Justice, Marked for Death.
Yeah.
The Glimmer Man, On Deadly Ground, Fire Down Below, which were like his most popular movies with Warner Brothers at the time.
Yeah.
And but like I say, we've got to throw in a few more Seagal movies and a few more Van Damme movies into our podcast and everything.
Well, actually, I will say, if you ever do a Van Damme film, one thing we have, one, just watch the whole film of it, because I've seen scenes of it. I think it's called Lionheart.
Oh yeah, in England it's called AWOL.
Or AWOL, yeah. Because I think it's different titles, but
I've seen the movie.
But I've seen some scenes of that. I think, I need to see the full film of that.
Well, another one of his favorites, one of my favorite Van Damme movies was Double Impact.
Oh.
Because it kind of showcases a little bit of his acting abilities, because he plays twin brothers in that movie, where he's like, one's very charming and very I wouldn't say childlike, but he's like very sweet and very full of life and everything. Whereas the other one's a bit more aggressive. He's like, he doesn't take any lip off anybody. You say the wrong thing to him, he's gonna smack your lights right out there and then. But then again, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, wait till you hear my friend Will, who's our band member in France, when he pronounces Jean-Claude Van Damme's name like the best I've ever heard.
Or is it more French?
Yeah, because obviously
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it's like, oh Will, that sounds so cool how you say it. Hats off to you, Will. Hats off. Well, that concludes today's podcast. And one more thing about Lethal Weapon. The other thing, part 3 was before we go, was the scene at the end where Riggs is like, Murtaugh decides not to retire.
Yes.
And he goes, the house is off the market. I'm not retiring. We're going to stay in this termite-infested dump for another 10 years. And then he goes, and he sees Riggs outside, and he's like, Riggs, when I do retire, I hope your next partner's exactly like you. He goes, that's not going to happen. I do mean that, don't I? My point exactly.
Actually, I'm glad you reminded me of that, because that was one of the best scenes of the...
It was, definitely was, when he does that.
And that's what I enjoy, because my final notes, I love how, because usually at this point, these sorts of film series, sometimes the actors, they either get a bit tired, basically doing it for the money, or they just you kind of tell they're not, the heart's not quite in anymore.
No.
But you can still tell guys like Gibson and Glover, they're still loving it. They're still having the time of their lives.
I mean, I just can't wait till we see Lethal finale.
I'm still waiting for that. I know Gibson's apparent directing is part of quite a sweet promise as well.
Yeah, it was,
to Richard Donner, who sadly passed away. I mean, props to him as a guy who was in his 90th time as announced, still saying, nope, I'm going to still try and direct that sucker. But unfortunately, just it couldn't. It didn't happen. I wish it were the case. It would have been amazing to see a guy in his 90s, try and make a big action film like that.
Indeed, I mean, look at Clint Eastwood. He's in his 90s.
He's still doing it.
He's still going strong.
Still going.
You can't. Well, he's Harry Callahan. You're going to tell him to slow down?
No there chance. We go. The man with no name.
Yeah, he'll probably pull the Magnum out and go, say that again, punk. That's my Clint Eastwood impression.
Exactly, but that's what I probably particularly enjoy.
The thing I always love about Clint Eastwood is the fact that not only is he a great actor, he's a great director, and he's still going strong even till today.
Yep, strong as an ox.
You can tell. I mean, he's like 6'4", the dude.
He is quite. Yeah,
he's a big man. He's a big guy. I mean, the first time I saw how tall he was when he did the movie The Rookie with Charlie Sheen.
Oh,
yeah. And the other thing was like Charlie Sheen's. I think he's about 5'10" or something.
Yeah.
Eastwood's like 6'4", but like they said that Eastwood helped him out a lot on the set of the film because he was suffering from substance abuse. But Eastwood took it on himself to be like a father figure to kind of like discipline him.
Yeah, because unfortunately Martin Sheen even admitted personally that he had a lot of failings as a father.
Yeah, he did.
To his kids. But
he pulled it around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he did. And when the scene at the end of Lethal Weapon, when the building comes down, look, we didn't do anything. It's like 10 more years of this, and it's like they both go, oh no, I'm too old for this. Well, like I said, that concludes our podcast. I can't believe next episode is going to be our 30th podcast, but that's just going to be in time for the Christmas holidays as well. We're going to be mentioning our favourite Christmas movies, why we like them and everything. Fraser will be back.
Yes.
Hopefully Aidan will be here as well. Tal will be here. I'll probably even get Will from France to probably get send over a clip over what's your favourite Christmas movie and everything, and we'll just take that from there as well, and then just see where we go. But so thank you again, Fraser, for taking the time out to come and join us on the podcast. You're coming along amazingly on the show. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for your weekly content, and we'll be back as well. We're even going to continue on in the new year, probably bring on some more guests as well, and then take it from there. This is Addy
and Fraser,
and this is the 80s podcast, and we're out.